अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजटां सगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमस्तते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। So see. Deliverance of Gopinatha Pattanayake. So, who is Gopinatha Pattanayake? Gopinatha Pattanayake is the son of Bhavananda Roy. Bhavananda Roy was the father of Ramananda Roy, who is more known as a devotee of the Supreme Lord of Krishna, a very close associate of Mahaprabhu. But we'll see that all the five brothers and the father were close associates of Mahaprabhu, especially Ramananda Roy. And Bhavananda Roy he used to stay, his residence was in Alalanath, which is also known as Brahmagiri, which is 12 miles away from Jagannath Puri, in a small village there called Bentapur in Alalanath. He was a landowner there, and that's where he used to stay. He was from a Kayastha family, and he had these five sons, of which Ramananda Roy was the governor of Madras under the control of King Prataparudra of Jagannath Puri. So you can see at that time, King Prataparudra of Jagannath Puri, also used to control all the way to Madras, Governor Madras, here on this side to West Bengal. So at quite a reach. That's his picture with his sons. Right. These are some verses from Adi Lila Chaitanya Chaitamrita, talking about the identity. Alingana kari tanre balila vachana tumi pandu pancha pandava tumara nandana. to Maranandana. Embracing Rai Bhavananda, the Lord declared to him, "You formally appeared as Pandu." Right. So in his former life, Bhavananda Rai was none other than King Pandu. And his five sons were the five Pandavas. Right. Appeared from his five sons of Bhavananda Rai appeared as the five Pandavas. Who were the five sons? Ramananda Pattanayake Gopinatha, Kalanidhi Sudanidhi, Nayaka. The five sons of Bhavananda were Ramananda Roy, Gopinath Patnaik, like Gopinath Patnaik was the second son, Kalanidhi, Sudanidhi, and Vaninath Nayaka. Right. Of which, especially Ramananda Roy and Vaninath Patnaik were very close associate of Mahaprabhu. All were associates, but they were very close associates of Mahaprabhu. Right. हे पंचपुत्र तुम्हारा मोरा प्रिय पात्र रामानंद सहाय मोरा देह भेद मात्र. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Bhavananda Roy, "Your five sons are all my dear devotees. Ramananda Roy and I are one, although our bodies are different." See, he kind of closely mentions about Ramananda Roy. Just like Ramananda Roy is considered as the partial incarnation of Arjuna, of the Pandavas, is Arjuna, who is very close to Lord Krishna. Similarly, here Ramananda Roy is very close to Mahaprabhu. We have this entire conversation of Ramananda Roy and Mahaprabhu. Also, is considered as Ramananda Roy is also considered as incarnation of Lalita Sakhi as well as Vishaka Sakhi. Right, close, confident associates of Srimati Radharani. Right. That's Ramananda Roy. So Gopinath Patnayak, as we mentioned, was the second son of Bhavananda Roy. He was a Tahsildar, right? Tahsildar means a tax collector in King Prataparudra's regime in a place called Malajatya Dandapata, which is in West Bengal, which is now called as Midnapur. And the Tahsildar's duty was to collect taxes. And we see in this pastime of the deliverance of Gopinath Patnayak that on one occasion, since his duty was to collect taxes, he was found in tax arrears of 200,000 kahanas of kauris. 200,000 kahanas of kauris. What is kahanas of kauris? They were the monetary system used at that particular time. Like we use cent or yen or paise or rupees. At that time, kauris, means like Gujarati we call as kaudi. We play during, when we grew up as child, we used to play with those kaudi. They are kind of shells from sheep, right? Kaudi. So, so 200,000 kahanas of kauris, and footnote is given that one kahana is 16 panas, one pana is 20 gandas, and one ganda is 4 kauris. So that much arrears he had. So almost like 2,056,000 or something like that kauris. He was in tax arrears. So now he was in tax arrears. So it came into the notice of the king, and he had to address that. And he said, "Okay, I will repay it. Whatever I owe, I will repay it. Right now, I don't have a cash payment. I don't have that much cash in kauris. but I have these horses, so we can buy the horses instead. So the prince, the son of the king, who is also called as Bhattajana or Bharyajana, now he went, he was expert in looking at the value of the horses. He went to look at the horses, and then he was devaluing the actual price of the horses. And he said, "Oh no, no, these horses are no, you have such a big debt, and this horse is hardly value to that much." Uh, and while he mentioned that to Gopinath Patnaik, he would kind of, um, work with like raising his neck towards the sky, you know, uh, uh, as if he was kind of disregarding or devaluing Gopinath Patnaik. That, hey, now you have committed such a big sin, and you are talking about repaying by the horses does not value that much. And Gopinath Patnaik at that time became upset because he knew the value of the horses, and he could easily make out that this Bhattajana or the prince is not valuing it properly. So he kind of sarcastically made a comment that, no, means my horses value much more than that. At least they are not looking up on the sky with their neck high up, as if he was making a sarcastic comment of the prince, who was always had his neck a little bit high up. All right. So the prince got annoyed by that particular comment. He became angry, and he went to the king and falsely alleged that, no, hey, I went to no, Gopinath Patnaik, but he was so busy. He has misappropriated funds, and here he was enjoying with the dancing girls. So he kind of made a story. And ultimately, Gopinath Patnaik was punished. So what was the punishment? Now, since the prince could not bear, the Bhattajan could not bear that sarcastic comment which was made by Gopinath Patnaik. And Gopinath Patnaik felt, at that time when he made that comment, he felt, I'm such a close, confident minister of the king, he would understand that, hey, this son is not properly behaving or something. But now some message given that, hey, you don't kind of when you're dealing with the administrators, you don't kind of make the situation too light, even though it may be just like you're dealing with a postman. It's the representative of the post office, but it just comes to your place, and if you deal with him roughly, it could make your life much more miserable. But here it was from directly the son of the king. He could make your life miserable, right? And that's what happened. That ultimately he arranged Gopinath Patnaik to be punished. And what was the punishment? It was a capital punishment, right? The king did not even know about it, but it was a capital punishment where it was normal. In recent times, capital punishment is you hang to death. At that time, capital punishment was you tie him up to a scaffold, which is called like a changa, which is like a wooden shelf on which the person is made to stand up on the changa, and underneath that wooden plank are all these spears, pointed spears. And then they will remove that wooden plank and make the person fall on those pointed spears and die to death. There was a punishment to Gopinath Patnaik. He was about to they were about to remove the wooden plank and make him die to death. Now, hearing this, Ramananda Roy and Bhavananda Roy and his family and his well-wishers could not bear that, and they somehow went to Mahaprabhu and passed this message that Mahaprabhu, do you know that Gopinatha Pattanayake, who is the son of Bhavananda Roy, who are your close associates, is about to be punished. And then Mahaprabhu inquired what had happened. And said, oh, no, he kind of owed 200,000 kahanas in tax arrears, and he owed it to the king. And but for that he's given a capital punishment, and they're about to he's on the changa and about to be killed. And Mahaprabhu kind of for a while externally kind of thought about it, and then he kind of said, no, what am I going to do? He owes money to the king, so that it's the right of the king to punish him if he cannot fulfill his debt. Why he did not carry out his material affairs diligently? Right. He should have carried out his duties diligently. He should have carried out his duties diligently. He should not have, while carrying out his duties, now, the king has all right to punish him. King has all right to punish him. Right. So that's how. And then there were different devotees. So Damodar was also a very close associate of Mahaprabhu. Also kind of mentioned the Romans. These are his close associates. Now, not only that, Bhavananda Rai and his other sons are also implicated. So they are also put under close imprisonment. They are imprisoned. I think you should do something about it. And now Mahaprabhu kind of mentioned that I'm not going to, I'm a sannyasi. I'm not going to go out spreading my arms to king. Right. It's not a duty of a sannyasi to spread his arms to the king. So now, kind of message which is saying that he's not going to get involved in this. If that's what is what he has committed, and the king has decided, he has the right to punish. Then he was conversing with when Bhavananda Roy and also his other sons were also in prison. He was conversing with Kashi Mishra. Now, Kashi Mishra is the main priest of Jagannath Puri temple. Right. So, to Kashi Mishra, he didn't converse about, okay, now you petition on my behalf and you can get Gopinatha Pattanayake released. Instead, to Kashi Mishra, I just mentioned, I'm thinking about leaving this place in Jagannath Puri and going to Alarnath, because people come up, do all these mistakes while carrying out their material affairs, and then they come to me and they disturb me. So I'm just going to go to Alarnath and carrying out my you know chanting and everything in Alarnath. So Kashi Mishra, is trying to convince him, no, Mahaprabhu, no, so you stay here in Jagannath Puri. No, yes, Gopinath Pattanayake has committed a mistake, but no, it should not have been punished this heavily. And at the same time, Bhavananda Roy and his sons should not have been imprisoned. No. And Mahaprabhu said, what am I going to do? No, they want to plead, they should go to Lord Jagannath. Right? And surrender to Lord Jagannath. Right? So hearing all this, one of the close associates of Mahaprabhu, Harishchandra, went to where Gopinath Pattanayake was. He went to King Prataprudra, and he kind of mentioned to King Prataprudra that, hey, are you aware that your son, Bhattajana, is about to give capital punishment to Gopinath Pattanayake. So, King Prataprudra felt stunned that, hey, yes, there was tax arrears and there was 200,000 kahanas sought, but I never gave him the punishment, gave the orders of capital punishment. So he kind of, as soon as it came to his notice, he ordered and got the hanging or capital punishment of Gopinath Pattanayake stopped. Right, he got that stopped. And then Kashi Mishra comes to King Prataprudra, because every day King Prataprudra, being such a close devotee of Lord Jagannath and devotee of Mahaprabhu, every day he will come to massage the feet of Kashi Mishra. See, the king himself will come to massage the feet of Kashi Mishra, the main priest of Jagannath temple, and hear from him about the Shringar of Lord Jagannath. Right? So he comes to massage the feet of Kashi Mishra. So Kashi Mishra kind of conveyed to him that, Mahaprabhu is thinking about leaving Jagannath Puri and going to Alarnath. And that all these devotees of him who are kind of engaged in these different material affairs are kind of disturbing him when there is a mistake. So when King Prataprudra finds out about the entire thing, he kind of not only releases Gopinath Pattanayake, but later on even finds out about the whole thing, that Gopinath Pattanayake was ready to sell off all his horses to pay the 200,000 kahanas, and somehow it was not valued properly. And then when further he finds out, then what he does is kind of not only releases Gopinath Pattanayake, but even clears him of the 200,000 kahanas debt. But okay, you don't have the cash now, you don't have to clear the debt, you are debt free. And additionally, I will increase your salary, and he doubles his salary. And releases Bhavananda Roy with all his other 4 sons. And mentions to Kashi Mishra that as soon as if you'll tell this to Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu will be very upset. that on the pretext that he's going to leave Alanath or leave Jagannath Puri and go to Alanath, I have done this. So Kashi Mishra then diplomatically handles that. Mahaprabhu. Then means when he goes to Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu is asking about, what was in all these things, what was Gopinatha Pattanayake doing? Right. He said Gopinatha Pattanayake in all this time was fully chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. He was fully absorbed in thinking of the holy name. And Gopinath Patnaik, along with Bhavananda Roy and all the other four the brothers, comes to Mahaprabhu. No, Gopinath Patnaik is also, the salary was doubled, his debt was cleared. The king also tied a silken turban on his head, and he comes to Mahaprabhu. Right. And he surrenders to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu that now it is all because of your mercy that since when I was about to be given this capital punishment, I was fully absorbed at your lotus feet. And because of that, you have protected me. No, she was not thinking, no, because of that, he got this material benefit of doubling his salary and all. Because of that, you have protected me. Now, my two other brothers, Ramananda Rai and Gopinath Patnaik, now they are completely your close associates and they have surrendered to you and you have absolved them of all material affairs. Right. So please also utilize me in your full service. Please also absolve me of all material attachment, material sense gratification, so that I don't get into this mistake again. Right. So now, Mahaprabhu, when he surrenders to Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu is very pleased. You see here, he kind of embraces Gopinath Patnaik, and then he kind of instructs him that when you go back, right, you carry out still your duties. But from your duty, don't take a single farthing from the king. You give out all what you owed to the king, and further from what the salary which you earn, you don't use a single farthing for your own sense gratification. Devotional service. Use it for spiritual purposes. Right. Don't use it for your own sense gratification. Like, guiding him, Yasha Haridasa Karmana Manashagira Nikolasu Api Avasaksu, right? You may be involved in material duties, but with your mind, bodies, and words, if you are just surrendered to the Supreme Lord, right, then these material duties will not implicate you in any way. The material duties will not implicate you in any way. Otherwise, this time, Lord, by the mercy of Lord Jagannath, you have been saved. But He's not going to save you again if you fall in this arrears again. And you don't carry out your material affairs diligently. Right. So that's a nice message which we get. So some of the messages which we get from this pastime, this pastime happens all the way when Mahaprabhu is in Jagannath Puri, so it is part of his Antya Leela, pastime of Mahaprabhu, right? And we see here that Mahaprabhu not only cares of his devotees spiritually and materially, no, he cares of his devotees both spiritually and materially. We externally, did not want to get involved in this. Though he was completely aware of what was happening around. He was the Supreme Lord. He's a super soul sitting in each and everybody's heart. Right. So, while we still carrying out our duties, we should be act as a responsible citizens while carrying out material affairs. Not think about, oh, now I'm a devotee, so I can do, no, Lord will take care of me. I should not have any obligation with the material affairs. No. If you are at work, you are, our tax seasons are nearby, don't try to cut corners to save tax here and there. Government has all responsibility to now collect taxes from you. Right? Don't try to cut corners. Carry out material affairs with due diligence. Right? The devotees are not above ordinary morality. But they need to be very attentive in carrying out their material affairs. Right. We see Mahaprabhu here is not want to be bothered by complaints of material affairs of his devotees. The devotee's mood should not be to create anxieties for the Lord. No, they should not create anxieties for the Lord. Oh, now even I'm feeling sleepy, I should drive because, oh, what is going to happen? Lord will always protect me. So they should not create anxieties for the Lord, but should always work to remove the anxieties of the Lord. Always serve the Lord in such a way, right, that he does not have to think about, now I have to protect this devotee. Right? Lord will always be there. Ye yatamam prapadantam tathaiva bhajami aham. Lord will reciprocate according to your level of surrender. But devotee, should not think that the Lord is our order carrier. Right? They should not think that the Lord is our order carrier. Right? Everyone in every way in Lord's pastimes are transcendental. We also see in this entire pastime that Prataparudra's heart was completely devoted to the Supreme Lord. As soon as he heard that Lord was going to leave Jagannath Puri and go to Alarnath, and somehow he has caused his son, his administration has caused some problem, some punishment unnecessarily to the Lord's associate. He immediately releases them, he promotes their, he clears his debt, promotes him, doubles his salary. Right. And in so many ways, always thinking about how we can keep the Lord in Jagannath Puri and how we can serve the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Right. And that should be our mood. That should always think about serving the Supreme Lord and his devotees. In fact, the Lord says that one who serves me is not my devotee, but one who serves my devotee is my devotee. Also, what should be our meditation be at the time of death, like in Gopinatha Pattanayake here? When he was hung on the changa, about to be killed, he was fully absorbed, meditating on the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. So meditation should be always be now. Manabi Rakobi Jo Icha Tumar. At each and every step in this material world, we are at a stage of a problem. Especially in recent year, we saw so much, right? Pandemic, oh, we cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot come close with this person or that person because of so many safety regulations which we had to go through, right? Death was so near at each and every step of all of us. So somehow or other, fully takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. That if He wants to protect us, no matter what tsunami comes or this comes or that comes, we'll remain protected. And if our time has come, okay, our time has come. In that situation also, take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Right? That should be our meditation. And then if the Lord wants to protect you, absolve you of the material mistakes which you have committed, or rewards you or punish you, you just accept that. In both situations, trials or tribulations, you just accept it. Right? Honor or dishonor, just accept it. As a mercy of the Supreme Lord. Just accept it as a mercy of the Supreme Lord. Nice when Antya Lila, one of the Prabhupada mentions this. That api chesu duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhu evasa mantavya samayak devasito hisa. This is from Bhagavad Gita. Shipram bhavati dharmatma satva shantim negacchati kaunteya pratijanai namay bhaktya pranashati. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. So, son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Right. Declare it boldly, Bhaktya Kaunteya Pratijan Namay Bhaktya Pranashati. Declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. However, if a devotee or a so-called devotee purposefully commits sinful activities continually in the hope that Krishna will give him protection, Krishna will not protect him. Right. In fact, it is one of the sins. We can talk about these 10 offenses. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting of the holy name is an offense to the holy name. Right. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions this in Antya-lila. Kali se rakhibe yadi na dibe rajadhar. The Jagannatha saved Gopinath Pattanayake from being killed by the king today. But if he commits the same offense again, who will give him protection? Right. And he mentions this to Kashinath Mishra. Hey Kashinath Mishra, today, by the mercy of Lord Jagannath, he has been given this protection and he is saved from the king. But if he commits the same offense again, who will give him protection? Right. So that's why, devotee has to be very, very careful. not go on committing sinful activities. One time for his sin, okay, the Lord may protect him. But that does not mean that he go on committing sinful activities on the strength of his devotional service or his chanting. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or discussions?
Before we go to questions, can I make quick announcements?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Hare Krishna. So our upcoming programs, this coming Wednesday, we have His Grace Kratu Prabhuji speaking. So join us at 8:30. The topic is how and when does Krishna reciprocate? And then next Wednesday, we have His Grace Jagat Sakshi Prabhu, will be speaking again. He's temple president in Trivandrum, Kerala. So our other upcoming programs are ongoing programs actually. Children's Stories on Thursdays, every Friday Bhakti Rikshas, Sunday School for Children, every Monday through Friday, Bhagavad Gita sloka reading from Bhagavad Gita for 15 minutes, and then daily japa sessions. So please join us. And as Gaur Purnima is coming, we would also like to let you know that you all probably have Bhagavad Gita at home. You have other Prabhupada's small books at home. You may also have Srimad Bhagavatam at home, but not many of you may have Chaitanya Charitamrita at home. So on the special occasion of Gaur Purnima, we would like to encourage you to take a copy, and we will personally bring the Chaitanya Charitamrita to you, and you welcome Chaitanya Charitamrita representing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Gaur Nitai. So those who do not have a copy, we'll be announcing more information in our coming weeks, but we will have a special run for the Gaur Purnima festival for only $108 set of Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can sign up for it so we can order. We would like to order in bulk. So this way, as you know, with COVID, shipping is really tough, difficult. It takes time. But if we get orders quickly, please reach out to Gopal Govind Prabhu. Going forward, like he will make more announcements and or let one of us know, and we can take your name. So with that, Gopal Govind Prabhu, your hand's raised. So let's go into questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had few questions from this. There was a mention, Prabhu, for the son of Pratap Rudra was giving the punishment to Gopinath Pattanayake.
Yeah.
We hear another story of the son of Pratap Rudra when Pratap Rudra was not allowed to meet Mahaprabhu, and he was advised to send his son, and he was dark in complexion. Looking at him, Mahaprabhu embraced him like Krishna. So he blessed him. So is that the same son? Maybe the different one, I don't know. I'm just curious to know.
Yeah, I don't think there's a mention of which son this is. We had various sons, especially this son was expert in evaluating horses, and he had this kind of defect, something. That's what we hear about in this particular case, but cannot relate it whether this is the son which you're talking about, the dark complexion, he was given the mercy, but Mahaprabhu was would be a different son. In this particular pastime, that link is not kind of established about that son. But at least it's mentioned, it's like this Bhattajana is like the name given to the prince, is not the actual name of that particular son. It's like the Bharyajana. Bhattajana is the category of the, so they are the prince, the sons of the king. Is it okay, Gopal?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. There are other questions as well, but
Yeah.
I'll take my turn last.
Anybody else has a question? I'd like to ask one, Prabhuji. At the end, you were mentioning that no matter what abominable sin one may have committed, the Lord will forgive.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest aparad, or not even a sin, but is Vaishnava aparad, for example.
Mm.
So would that fall under abominable?
That's a aparad. It's not it's not considered as an abominable sin, but it's a big aparad. In the case of that big aparad, that Vaishnava aparad especially, it's mentioned that the Vaishnava aparad, even the Lord will not forgive. Like when Mahaprabhu hears about Jagai and Madai hitting Lord Nityananda, immediately invokes Sudarshan Chakra and is about to kill Jagai and Madai. The only person who could forgive in that particular case is the devotee to whom that aparad is committed. Like in that particular case, Lord Nityananda stops Mahaprabhu. Right. But abominable sin is like, say, suppose we find somebody is following foreign principles, it is a high platform, he falls down or something for some reason. No, Lord absolves, Lord performs. If it's a mistake committed, like in this case, Gopinatha Pattanayake commits a mistake at tax arrears. He now externally Mahaprabhu kind of presented, oh, I don't want to get involved. But internally, now to say, you submit to Lord Jagannath, but ultimately, he's released because he meditated on the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. He's released from this big capital punishment. So the Supreme Lord forgives you. But that does not mean that you go on committing that sinful activity again and again. Right. It's mentioned that when you chant sincerely the holy name of the Supreme Lord, the amount of sins which it can clear, you cannot even think of committing it. But in the case of Ajamila, we hear about it when he called out, though he was calling out his son Narayan, but was in that such a mood of Namabas that could not, since it was the Lord's name, all his sins were absolved. He was given the second chance. Is that all right, Ramchandra?
Yes, Prabhuji. Also, I noticed one thing, that although he had done the tax evasion, but the reason was quite hard to accept. I mean, in the sense he came from such a devotee family, and he was performing such activities, and then he evaded taxes and all. But at the same time, when time came to be punished, he really didn't go around asking for help or anything like that. So it seems like, although at some point he got distracted, lost, but when time came, he was okay. I'm willing to accept my mistakes. I don't need to run to, or don't send anybody to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good learning for me to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right here with this. Um, Internally, in his consciousness, he was completely taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, even in that precarious situation. And he could see that I'm being punished by, because uh, more than the tax arrears, more of his sarcastic comment to the prince is punished for that. That's what he could see. That means that somehow the prince did not come out forthright. He's considered to be so-called expert in valuing the horses, but he was devaluing the horses. He was ready to pay off. This is devaluing. Normally, it tax evasion. Okay, even in current times, you will see that okay, they'll get punishment. They'll be imprisoned also, not a capital punishment. But the prince here is ready to take things in his hand because he did not like that comment. His ego was hurt and was ready to hang him to death. What that time hanging to death means put him on a changa. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else has a question or a comment? Feel free to ask. Gopal Govind Prabhu, you could go next.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. The question is a little bit just analogical. And this pastime, you mentioned that Lord take care of spiritual as well as material needs. We don't need to really bother, or rather um, attend, shift our focus towards what we need to ask Him, or rather, like approach Him with that. He knows what He need to give, take care. Similar to that, in our relationship in practicing sadhana, we have similar relationship with our spiritual master, and the spiritual masters usually, out of compassion, they are willing to devote their time, and they keep asking us that, hey, if you have any trouble, you have any questions, please come, please ask me. So at times, I'm just telling about myself. Being a neophyte, the weight is heavier towards the material than the spiritual. In those situations, if we put forward the material things to the spiritual master, it feels like as if we are misusing the situation. And can you please help rectify this?
Yeah, we have. Our role is to approach a spiritual master for no, spiritual topics. How can I advance in my devotional service so that so that I can detach myself more and more from material affairs, right? And that's the reason why we approach a spiritual master. The spiritual master is not supposed to guide us that, oh, which investment I should put my funds in. Right. Now, when we serve our spiritual master, we are directly serving the Supreme Lord. And the Lord, now, He knows what we lack. Right? So He carries what we lack and preserves what we have. Right? Ananyas chintayantam mamya jana paripasate. Te samsatariktanam bhajate. Yeah. Yeah. So he carries what we lack and preserves what we have. Yoga Shema Vahami Ham. Right. So from that perspective, no, not that um, we have to externally put out, like we're talking about. Lord is not our order carrier. We should, with whatever strength which we have, if we go on serving the Supreme Lord, whatever wealth we have, we use it for the service of the Supreme Lord or his close associate or the spiritual master. Automatically, it is a big rate of return will come in form of, if we are desiring, just like we see Dhruva Maharaj, right? He started worshipping the Supreme Lord to carry out his material desire. What was his material desire? That he was so insulted by his stepmother, and the father who did not know, who followed what the stepmother said and did not allow him to sit on his lap. He was so insulted, even at that young age, he was so insulted by that. And he went to for his material desire that I want to have a kingdom much higher than my great grandfather. Who was his great grandfather? Lord Brahma. And when he got the darshan of the Supreme Lord, he found his material desire as broken pieces of glass. Right. But the Lord completely takes away his material desire. He completely takes away the material desire, but then he grants him a kingdom higher than his great grandfather. That you have this Dhruva Loka, which is in the material realm, but it's still a spiritual planet. But the Lord personally resides there in Dhruva Loka. Right? So, Lord carries what we lack. Or even if we, at one time, that's why it said, Akama Sarva Kama Moksha Kama Udarati. Whether we are desireless, we are just thinking about serving the Supreme Lord, or we are desiring fruitive activities, or we are desiring liberation. In all these three states of our consciousness, we should take shelter of the Supreme Lord. We should always take shelter of the Supreme Lord, and He will carry out. He knows what is good for us, what is not good for us. And leave it to that. We must have full faith. And when we go on performing our devotional service, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. When we perform Bhakti Yoga, automatically Vairagya, renunciation comes. Bhukti and Mukti are considered as doorkeepers of a person performing devotional service. Bhukti is sense enjoyment, Mukti is liberation. They are doorkeepers. Person performing devotional service is not thinking of either one of them, they're doorkeepers. Is that okay? Gopinatha?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Are there
Any other questions? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you
Would
very
you
much.
mind sharing? I kind of little bit just touched upon how you came to Krishna consciousness. Would you mind sharing how you came? Not everybody came. No. Yeah.
Yeah, so you touched upon the fact that, there was my initial connection to ISKCON was from Juhu temple in probably 76, 77 time frame. I still remember while I was growing up, in the morning, I will read the newspaper, Gujarat Samachar, on the swing. One day when I was reading Gujarat Samachar, I still remember reading about Srila Prabhupada living in 1977. And in 86, when I came here for further studies, now, actually, what am I going to carry with me apart from all the other essential things? I carried a japamala of my grandfather, who that japamala was there in my house. So I carried that japamala, not knowing at that time anything about the significance of that. But no, at my home there was worship of Bal Gopal, Sinaji. My parents, like, attribute my Krishna consciousness really to my parents, and from my father's side, my grandfather left his body in the courtyard of the temple. My grandmother, 6 months of the year, she would spend her time in Gokul. It was a devotional family. So, 86, when I came to US, my uncle took me to Washington, and there somehow also he took me to, for Janmashtami, he took me to Potomac Temple. And then I went to Kentucky and did my master's in legal, came here in 88 to do my PhD at Stevens. And again, while I was going through difficulties, and I was also working part-time in a motel, as a desk clerk. The consciousness came that, oh, if there was a ISKCON temple in India, like Juhu, there should be something also here. I started inquiring, and from, it was an Indian motel, and from one of the person working in the motel, he said, yeah, I've been to that temple, and he gave me the address, phone number, and I called. It was Mother Dharini, Vishnu Gadapa's wife. And I came in 1989, day before Janmashtami, got Bhagavad Gita, and then I went on Janmashtami day, and from that day, I never stopped. So that's how kind of feel, but starting point, I kind of feel that, that Mahaprasad which I ate in Juhu temple, and I said, no, the devotional family which has grew up, someone contributed a lot to then kind of invoke that association of the Supreme Lord in 1989, and gave me a proper direction to bring me at the shelter of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, the first book which I read in ISKCON is Prabhupada Lilamrita. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So we can see the potency of Mahaprasad, especially those who are joined here today on this call. If you know some family, friends, well-wishers that you want them to take on the path of Krishna consciousness, but they're not ready yet. Prasadam is the way, because everybody accepts prasad. By gradually accepting prasadam, there will be transformation in the long run. Also, Prabhuji, ISKCON Central New Jersey was a center for many, many, many years. How many years was it? Maybe 15 years?
Yeah, we started conducting our programs in 2004, March 2004. Just lines like Bergen County, we would rent a hall every Sunday. Festivals, we'll rent a bigger hall, do it in a very grand way from 2004. Every year we do Rath Yatra. Every year, Janmashtami was a big program. The hall, and in 2006 we bought a property to build a temple, and then we found that we fought for it for a few years, and we found that okay, it's not going. A lot of objections being raised, and we just don't want to drag it again and again. Even if we win, which we're confident that we'll win, what would be the use of staying among all these antagonist people who are going to give us problem at each and every moment? So let's, before spending more furthering or more money, energy, let's wait for 6-7 months. And then this property came up, and as soon as we saw it, liked it, the hall which we are going to build with multi-million dollars, here the hall capacity is much higher. We were looking into 2 halls in that particular building. Here we have 2 halls. So we immediately liked the prospect, especially being grandfathered in, where we don't have to go through the court cases and chasing the lawyers and this and that. We bought this existing temple, existing church, and we converted that into a temple in 2014. We bought it. We started having our Sunday programs. 2015, we got it ready for the installation of Sri Radha Shyam Sundar. And the devotees, a lot of renovations which was carried out. We spent close to $1 million in renovations. But it kind of says that where Krishna wants to come, automatically, he kind of opens the door and provides you everything. When we bought it, it was almost a cash purchase. We had collected the funds. 80% of that was collected in the first month itself. The congregation was saying, "Oh, we are wanting this place for a long time." Yeah. And that's how. Yeah, go ahead, bro. 10 years, yes, after we started. 2004, we started. 2014, we bought a permanent place.
So for 2 years that Bergen started, we've only done a year because the next year was all virtual. So 10 years and 1 year, and I'm sure you've seen a lot more challenges. Not easy to set up and wrap up a hall every Sunday. What would you tips or recommendation or suggestions or would you give us?
Yeah, well, Krishna conscience will see challenges, the setup and wrap up, which you may think of, okay, setup and wrap up is a challenge, but when you have existing temple, there are the bigger challenges than setup and wrap up. So, to me, setup and wrap up at that particular time, I kind of mention the kind of energy which we used to put together at that particular time was much high. That, oh, we'll cook a feast. Not having a kitchen, we'll cook a feast for 150, 200 people. During the festival, we cook a feast for 3,000 people, not having a kitchen. And the kind of energy levels which was there at that particular time, it's quite high. Like when we have a Janmashtami program, after midnight you start wrapping up, and when you are renting a hall, you have to we'll rent Ukrainian church, and next day they have to rent it to somebody else. So till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, we'll wrap up the entire facility and do the wrap up. I remember in one Janmashtami, my Guru Maharaj was there. He was also involved. Okay, let me pick up this garbage, that garbage. It was because everybody was, we have to wrap up. So the whole 40, 50, 60 devotees were just dismantling each and every aspect of that. Now, once when you have an existing facility, we become complacent. It's not going to go anywhere. So next day also it's like that. 2-3 days, or even after a week, you see certain things which are not wrapped up. Right. So I kind of feel it's a different experiences, and if to have a smaller place and have organic growth of that. Looking back at it, probably the time when we had bought the property, probably we were not really there to make that happen into a project, but we were kind of pushing it. Right. So we should not get instead. If you are able to carry out your functions, okay, your preaching is happening, your Sunday school is happening, your Sankirtan is happening, your expansion of bringing more devotees is happening, your bhakti vrikshas are happening, and what's the need? Your library, I remember from our rented hall, we will also run a library. Where we'll have a library of books set up on a table. People are members. People will borrow books, written books, borrow tapes, return tapes. Yeah, all those things could happen. Doesn't need a facility for that to happen. So sometimes bringing deities also, deity worship could happen. Festivals could happen. What temple, by the building by itself has not much value. The community which it grows should be together, and the focus should be more on the people than the project itself. And when the focus is more on the people, more and more the people will grow. There will be the spiritual nourishment will happen. More and more Krishna will provide. Okay, now seems that they need a temple, I'll provide. For Krishna to provide, or if he wants to come to a place, it is very fast. Plainfield, people were, black community, this, that. Not a single moment we have had any issues from any of the neighbors. Right. They will come down. No time. So, is that all right, Ramchandra?
Yeah, thank you.